September 18th, 2014. Philadelphia City Council passes tweaked marijuana decriminalization bill from phillymag.com. City Council today approved a revised decriminalization bill aimed at ending arrests for possession of small amounts of pot. Instead, offenders would be issued a $25 ticket and have their stash destroyed on the spot. Persons caught smoking in public would be fined $100 but could erase that fine with community service. Mayor Michael Nutter has promised to sign the bill, a slight revision of the original passed early this summer. Police Commissioner Charles Ramsey has agreed to abide by it. The bill was sponsored by Councilman Jim Kenney. New poll, majority of D.C. voters want legalized pot from DCist.com. A majority of Washington, D.C. voters want marijuana legalized in the district, according to a Washington Post NBC4 Marist poll. Of likely voters polled, 65% are in favor of Initiative 71, which would legalize the growing of no more than 6 cannabis plants and possession of up to 2 ounces of marijuana. That number goes up to 71% when just looking at white voters and down to 56% when looking at just black voters. Poll, 47% in the under 40 crowd say booze worse than weed from KTVU.com. Young people believe that alcohol is a more destructive substance than either marijuana or tobacco, according to a new poll conducted for Rare, a Cox Media Group website based in Washington, D.C. Given the choice, 47% of young voters believe that alcohol does the most harm to society, while 27% said tobacco and only 13% selected marijuana. 13% were unsure. A gender gap emerged in the results over alcohol and tobacco. While 51% of women thought alcohol was the most destructive, only 42% of men blamed booze. Nearly 10% of Americans go to work high on weed from Mashable.com. About 9.74% of Americans have gone to work under the influence of marijuana, according to a survey conducted by SurveyMonkey for Mashable. Prescription drug takers were much more common, with 28.28% of people saying they've gone to work after taking prescribed medication. However, about 7.28% say they took these drugs for recreational purposes rather than medicinal purposes. It should be noted the poll was asking lifetime use of marijuana before work, not whether or not the poll respondents went to work high every single day. Also in the statistics, a finding that less than 2% of workers would go to work high in the future. About 1% would take marijuana while on the job, while 12% of respondents said they would take prescription drugs before work, and 15% would take prescription drugs while on the job. Dozens of Washington marijuana shop applications in jeopardy from King5.com. Washington State is warning dozens of people who applied to run legal marijuana shops that their chance of getting a license is in jeopardy. The Liquor Control Board on Wednesday began sending letters to 56 businesses around the state, giving them 60 days to schedule an interview with a licensing inspector. Twitter CEO responds to pot smoking accusation in the best way possible from HuffingtonPost.com. PayPal co-founder Peter Thiel is a legendary entrepreneur, but when it comes to Twitter, all he smells is weed. Quote, "Twitter is hard to evaluate," Thiel said. "They have a lot of potential. It's a horribly mismanaged company. Probably a lot of pot smoking going on there." End quote. But if Twitter CEO Dick Costolo was bothered by the pot shot, he didn't let it show. He responded with the following tweet, quote, "At Goldman, working my way through a giant bag of Doritos. I'll catch up with you later." And finally, Peyton Manning knows pot is good for Papa John's business from SportingNews.com. Peyton Manning invested in 21 Papa John's pizza franchises in Colorado in the fall of 2012, just as that state was about to make recreational marijuana use legal. Quote, "There's some different laws out here in Colorado," end quote, Manning said. "Pizza business is pretty good out here, believe it or not, due to some recent law changes," end quote. This has been your 420 Radio News for Thursday, September 18th, 2014. I'm Russ Belville. The Marijuana Business Association, or MJBA, are proud sponsors of the Russ Belville Show. It is the mission of the MJBA to establish integrity and legitimacy, create common market standards, provide market intelligence, and develop best ethical business practices for participants in the emerging legal marijuana industry, including commercial hemp, medical marijuana, and recreational marijuana for adults. Learn more about the Marijuana Business Association and visit mjba.net to join today. That's mjba.net.